Hi, and welcome to Chew on This San Diego. I'm Chef Patsy, and today we will be preparing everybody's favorite pulled pork sliders. Great idea for a Super Bowl party and anytime. So we're going to get started here with the first step, which is the rub for the pork shoulder. Now, in the interest of time here, I've gone ahead and made this rub ahead of time so that it can really infuse all the flavors into this pork shoulder. So what I've added here is pretty simple. It's just some paprika, garlic, salt, and something super important is dried mustard. So you just mix all that up. Oh, and a little brown sugar. Got to have a little sweet in there. And so you just mix all that off and then you pad that on your pork shoulder, and then you put it right in the oven. So I've got it. I've already preheated my oven to 300. I'm going to put some foil over it to cover it and put it in the oven. It's going to bake for about maybe about 4 or 5 hours. This is almost about a 2.5 pound roast. So this is something that you might like to think ahead, and when you are going to have some guests over, and make it the day before, because it is going to bake all day. And then you're all ready, you're good to go, and then you can just build your sandwiches for your party. Okay, so let me pop this in the oven. Got to get this foil on nice and tight. And of course, if you have a roasting pan that's got a lid to it, that'll work too. But we want to keep all of the juices in here, so we don't want any air to escape. Okay, so now that we've got our pork in the oven and roasting away, we're going to work on the sauce. This is something that I designed so that we could satisfy both barbecuers for pulled pork. There's kind of a battle sometimes of the Carolina, which is the vinegar base, or the Alabama, which is the tomato base. So as to keep peace with the north and the south sort of there, I thought, well, I'm going to blend the two flavors. So this is a pretty straightforward sauce. Just going to put all the ingredients in the saucepan and put it on the burner and bring it to a boil, and then we will put it on low and let it just have a nice simmer. And it really doesn't need to cook a long time, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and then you cool it down and you're good to go. So we are going to start out with adding a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Always want to make sure you pack down that brown sugar when you're measuring. And we are going to add 2 cups of ketchup. At one time I was thinking about making my own ketchup, and then I got over it. So many great ketchups out there. I don't need to start with that. I'm so about making everything from scratch, but I think I can stop at the ketchup. I'll let that go. Need about 2 cups. It's a noisy ketchup bottle. Okay. And we're going to add apple cider vinegar, little apple, to kind of add to that vinegar taste. And I am going to be adding, let's see, let me check my recipe here, or I'm going to add in a cup. So let me put a cup in. There we go. Then the next thing is spicy brown mustard. I'm going to put about 3/4 of a cup in. Kind of the base to this really does make a difference. And could you use just your standard regular mustard? Sure, but the spicy brown mustard really gives it a nice kick. So I'd say don't deviate from that, but if that's all you've got hanging out around your house, then that's okay, and you can spice it up with perhaps a little more chili powder. So I'm going to add some chili powder, or you can add cayenne. And I'm just going to put in a half a teaspoon of that. Okay, got that going in there. Then I'm going to add some celery seeds. Gotta have celery seeds. I'm going to put in a half a teaspoon of that. There we go. Get our mustard in. Let me get a little, my cute little baby spatula. It's great for taking things out of measuring cups like this. Besides, they're cute. Gotta have cuteness in our kitchen. I know, all my chef friends that are watching me are just, saying, really, Patsy, cute? I don't think you need to go there. Okay. What was our next thing? Okay, I know. Can't forget the garlic. I've got 2 cloves of garlic here. So I'm just going to do a small mince. You can certainly use your garlic press, no problem. So I'm just going to kind of slice this up. Gather up this garlic to a nice little pile there. I like to put my hand on top of the blade, or the spine is what it's really called, and start chopping away. And I just kind of go back and a forth and a back and a forth. Okay, there we go. Just keep going till you just keep chopping away till you get your desired shape and size. I'm looking for, like I said, I'm looking for a mince. So I'm going to just keep going here until I get to where I need to go. Okay, so that looks good to me. Put that right in the sauce. And give it a little mix. Move these so you guys can see this. And this is the type of thing that halfway through after it's cooked for maybe about a half hour or so, you might want to taste it and see if it it might need a little more vinegar, might need a little more brown sugar. Make it your own. So you can kind of figure out, the saltiness, the sweetness, and that way it'll be the perfect sauce just for you, and you'll be making it your own. Okay, need to add a little salt, but I'm going to go to the stove now, so we're going to put it on a medium-high flame. I'm going to add a little salt. Mix that up again. Okay, so that's our barbecue sauce. We are back. This is Chef Patsy, and I'm going to check on our barbecue sauce because we brought it to a boil and then we put it down to low, and I want to check it out and make sure it's cooking properly, and I want to give it a taste and make sure it's got enough salt. So let's go check that out. So this is delicious. It's perfect, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a great addition to the slider. Perfect. So now that our sauce is good to go, it's on low, and it's just hanging out, waiting for our pork shoulder to finish, I'm going to go ahead and make some biscuits. So We're going to add our flour, which is 3 cups of flour. And then we've got a bunch of other ingredients here. We have baking soda, we have baking powder, we have salt, and we have, ooh, sorry about that, got a little sugar. Always got to add a little bit of sugar because it just is going to bring out more flavor. Okay, so I've got my dry ingredients. And I do this, you can do this by hand using your, just that classic pastry blender, but I like to use the KitchenAid, and I use the paddle. I use this for making doughs and biscuits and everything else. It's a great little tool. So I've got my dry ingredients going, and so now I'm going to cut up some 4 ounces of butter. You want it to be super cold. This is the key to flaky biscuits. Super cold butter and super cold buttermilk. So I like to cut these up in little chunks. Okay. And then you kind of just separate them a little bit as you put them into the dry ingredients. It just kind of helps the process along. Alrighty, so now I've got my butter in, and I'm going to put it on low. And I just am, what the process that I'm doing right now is I'm cutting the butter into the dry ingredients. Very, very important step. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this mixture to turn into like small peas. And then when you see that they resemble that, then you know that it's ready. So it takes a couple of minutes, but it's an important step, and it's something that you do not want to turn your mixer on high and whip this up, because you'll have biscuit paste, and that is not going to taste good. You're going to have some mighty tough biscuits. Okay, we're almost there. And then I'm going to be adding 1.25 cups of buttermilk. I seem to use a lot of buttermilk in everything that I cook. I just love it. I love to bake with it, whether it's a cake or a muffin or a scone, and biscuits is right up there with the rest of them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add my liquid. And what's happening is that this mixture is starting to come together. It kind of looks a little shaggy. And what you're looking for is you want it to pull away from the side of the pan. And I'll show you what that looks like. The side of the bowl is what I meant to say. So this is kind of what we're looking for. It hugs this paddle. So you need to take the dough off, and then we're going to form a nice little kind of a flat disc so we can cut our biscuits. Okay, there you go. How simple was that? Okay, put that aside. Okay, so you don't really want to handle this too much. I'm going to put a little bit of flour down on the cutting board, and I'm just going to knead it just a little bit, just so that I can make sure that the textures are all the same. I'm going to check on my sauce here. Okay, it's good to go. Don't want to ruin that down-home barbecue sauce. Okay, so my dough is doing what it's supposed to do. Looks fabulous. So I'm just going to roll it out, and you don't really have to put too much pressure I want to get this to about a half an inch because I want these to be really high and beautiful. Okay. And if you do roll it out a little bit too thin, then very forgiving dough. You can just roll it, you can just push it back together. Okay. Always a good idea to put your cutter in some flour. That way it won't stick. I can't think of anything better than a pulled pork sandwich with fresh, flaky biscuits. Although I do like the pulled pork sandwiches made with, I love that potato bread, those potato rolls. That's something that was really popular in Florida. I don't really seem to be able to get the potato rolls out here, but I'd rather make the biscuits. So you just want to make sure it keeps its shape. You just keep going. So you get all the way through this. Now this should make a dozen. I'm going to put this dough back together gently because the more you handle it, the more friction you put on this dough. It kind of takes away from the tenderness and the flakiness. Okay, so we got that back together. Going to just roll it out a little bit more. And this is something that you can do ahead of time if you want to get your biscuits all prepared, ready to go. You can just put them put some plastic wrap on them and put them in the refrigerator until you're ready to pop them in the oven. Okay, let's see how many more biscuits we can get. Okay. Kind of sticking to the bottom here a little bit, which is okay. Not the end of the world. I'm going to use my knife to get that up so that I'm not losing its shape. Oh, did you hear that little beep, beep, beep? That means that the oven has preheated. Okay, there we go. We've got our dozen biscuits. So the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to brush a little bit of melted butter on it. A little different from lots of times when people are baking, they'll put an egg wash on to kind of finish it and make a little bit of a golden brown finish, but I'm putting a little bit of butter on it. And I have to tell you that these biscuits are so full of butter and will be so creamy that they don't need anything else. They don't need any butter on them. In fact, I used to serve it at events and I didn't even put the butter out because I said it doesn't need it. So, okay, so let's get these in the oven and then we'll check on our pulled pork. Okay, I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. I always like to, they should take about maybe 15, 18 minutes, but I always like to check whatever I'm baking halfway through, just to make sure that everything's going well. Because I kind of think of, every time I bake something, I kind of think of it as they're my kids, so I got to watch them and take care of them. So let's put this aside, and we are going to move on to coleslaw. And we're back. This is Chef Patsy, and now we're going to prepare the coleslaw to go with our pulled pork sliders. So I do things a little bit different with this. A lot of people like to add sugar. I like to add some grated apple. A little tartness, a little sweet, and then I like to add some carrot. So I'm going to start by peeling it. I want to peel this apple. And then I'm going to slice our cabbage, head of cabbage here, green cabbage. And we want to take the core out. So we've got this nice little core here that we need to get rid of. So let's just cut it on either side and then just pull it out. I'm going to cut this in half. And then now I'm going to thinly slice this so we can have a nice thin coleslaw to go on our slider. So I mean, you're just barely, I mean, it is thin. You can use a mandolin if you'd like. You can use a shredder from your food processor. But today, we're doing it by hand. So we got it going in our okay, so I'm going to just keep slicing this super, super thin. And you can use, you know, both, you can use a purple cabbage if you'd like to go along with this, but today we're just kind of going simple. Keep slicing this a little bit more. Like I said, we're going to try and get this, you slice it as thin as you possibly can. Just kind of open it up. No bags of lettuce for us. We chop it ourselves because this way it's fresh and it's homemade. Okay, so now I'm going to use a microplane, my favorite tool, and I'm going to grate some of this apple. It's a fabulous tool. You can use it for grating cheese or chocolate. It's great for citrus. And we're going to add a little lemon juice to this as well. Okay, and then now we're going to add a little bit of carrot. Oh, you know what that means? Our timer is checking on our biscuits. I'm going to pause for a second and go and check on our biscuits. I'm going to turn this, like I mentioned before, halfway through. They're looking pretty good. I'm going to put them on for about 5 more minutes. Okay, our biscuits are safe. Okay, let's go back to our carrots. Let's get some carrots in here. It adds a little color, a little sweetness, a little beta carotene. There we go. Of course, it's not coming out this side. Gonna need a little help. So just use your spatula. Get our carrots. Help it along here with our nice little spatula. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little bit of lemon zest. Got to use some of our wonderful lemons that we've got here in California. Okay. Lemon zest always wakes up everything. It just gives it a nice clean flavor. And so I really put citrus in a lot of my dishes, whether it's a salad dressing or it's a marinade, a lot of my desserts. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, I can put all of this aside. And let's make our dressing. which is equal parts of sour cream and mayonnaise. A lot of people just put all mayonnaise, but I like to use a little sour cream. And we're going to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar. So I'm going to put in a half a cup of, get this off of here, half a cup of mayonnaise and a half a cup of sour cream. As you can see, I'm eyeballing it because I can. Alrighty, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. We can't forget the celery seeds, very important. I'm going to add about a teaspoon. Maybe. Maybe I'll add a little bit more. You see that we're working on this beautiful salad. Add a little bit more celery seeds and some salt and pepper. Because remember, salt is a flavor enhancer. I know you're going to get sick of me saying that, but I just put a little bit in and then I'm going to taste it. Because I always look at that as, you know, that's chef's choice. And you're going to flavor things to your palate, not what the recipe says. I'm going to add a little bit of cracked pepper. Okay, I'm going to stir up this coleslaw, get it all the ingredients nicely evenly distributed, and it's ready to our coleslaw is ready to go for our sliders. Here we go. We got some nice homemade biscuits. Can't get any more down home than that. And we're back. I'm about to check on the pulled pork that's been baking for about the last 4 or 5 hours, and let's see if it's ready for some pulling. Let's check this out. Wow. Sorry that this isn't live. This isn't smell television. That you can't smell these great flavors. Because, wow. Alrighty. So can you guys take a look at this? See that lovely sauce that's underneath there? That sauce is going in to our barbecue sauce that we made earlier. This is seriously, wow. Can't get better than that. I mean, this is flaky. Cut it with the fork. Pork shoulder. I mean, it's very similar to if you were to make pot roast, whatever. What we're looking for is to have it just fall away from the bone. Okay, so I'm going to take this lovely sauce, and I'm going to add it right to our barbecue sauce. Mix that up. So it's even gotten richer and richer. I mean, the depth of the flavors in this is going to be to die for. Okay, here we go. I'm going to just put this over here for right now, and we are going to start pulling. Meat's kind of hot, so one of the things that I like to do is to put gloves on, and I just happen to have a pair here. I've literally had pulled pork pulling parties, making 6, 7, 8 huge roasts, and got an assembly line of people all lined up. We've all got gloves on, and we're all pulling pork. It's kind of a, it's kind of therapeutic, and it's kind of a great way to get people together. Okay, let me get my other glove on, because this meat's hot. take these biscuits, and I'm going to put it right over here on this little platter. And then I'm going to put the pulled pork right on this sheet pan here. Okay. So you're going to come across some areas where you got a little bit of fat. We don't want that. We just want the real succulent meat that is just full of flavor. So I'm just kind of, it's hot, that's why I'm kind of touching it this way, very gingerly, but I'm going to just discard any of the fat. So I'm kind of just using my thumbs and my index finger. Kind of hot. That's okay. I'm just going to do a couple pieces at a time. I'm going to open this up quite a bit so that I can get it to cool. I know I've got some hungry people around here, so I know I need to move fast for two reasons. One, they're hungry. Two, it's hot. So as you can see that the rub really has infused this pork shoulder with all of these wonderful flavors, which is what you want. That's what the rub's supposed to do. There we go. Super hot, but that's okay. Usually I would let this cool a little bit, but today I'm going for it. We're just going to use our asbestos fingers and pull away. Alrighty, I'm going to get rid of my gloves, get rid of this cutting board, and I'm going to make some sandwiches. Okay, it's pulled pork sandwich time. I know I'm hungry. Let me get my barbecue sauce. Okay, I'm going to get the help of a serrated knife here and cut one of these biscuits. Move this over here, a little easier to work with. Let me get a couple here. Okay, got a little assembly line going here. Okay. Okay, so let's add a little pork. There we go. Great little mini sandwiches to serve at your Super Bowl party. Great little way to feed the folks. Okay. I'm going to spoon a little sauce on here. Okay. And now I'm going to add a little bit of coleslaw. Gotta have the coleslaw, right? Add a little coleslaw here. Look how cute these are. You know, this pulled pork takes a long time to roast, but it's worth it. Okay. We are ready for action. Let me get these lids back on. I'm going to put them on our nice little plate here. Here's our pulled pork sandwiches. perfect for Super Bowl or any football Sunday. Okay, it's now the taste test. Let's check this out. Like I said before, can't get any more down home than this. Well, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed watching me prepare this wonderful meal for you today. So until next time, it's Chef Patsy for Chew on This, San Diego.